Hi, Patrice Porter here from gardeningforfoodsecurity.com, and I'm just having a little slideshow here from the garden tour that I went on. The Perennial Society had put on, and it was on intensive gardening, permaculture gardening and urban farming. This will be part one. I broke it up into a couple of parts. And on this one, I also included some pictures from my daughter-in-law who just is starting her garden here. And this is the first picture here where she's starting to take away some of the grass, and her plan is to get rid of a good percentage of that grass there. And it was very productive, even for having been done for the first year. And these slides I'll be showing different growing beds, different ideas for making garden beds. Here these were packing boxes that were used for the packing windmills, and they were going to be thrown in the dump. And if you were to purchase those hinges on those boxes, they cost $14 a piece at Lee Valley. And these were all things that were recycled. They were heading for the dump, and they made excellent beds. And she was fortunate enough too to be given the soil to go into them. The neighbor was digging out part of the front yard and asked if she wanted the soil, and she said sure, and put it in the beds there. And again, it was very productive for the first year of gardening in them. And this next idea is using window wells. Having two window wells put together, and that would be a very long-lasting garden and sturdy. And this garden had she's only been gardening here for 2 years. And she was telling me how before she was gardening in the shade and everything, and now with having full sunlight and the new beds, she can't get over how more productive it is if you've got good light, soil, and the raised beds. And these were a neat idea. If you using those blue oil barrels, they're food grade barrels, and cut in half, and half was for growing some greens in, and half was used for storage. And a nice little setup there, so it's all very easy to harvest. And here they were growing in half of the those blue barrels again. And those blue barrels you can get from Biodynamic in Saskatoon, and they were $5 a piece. Here they're growing potatoes in the full blue barrels there, where you would start off with just some soil or compost at the bottom, and you put in some potatoes and you build it up. And here's a very simple log raised bed that was in the front yard, and very decorative. And here the edging was with stumps, which I thought looked very nice. And here they just used simple 2x4s pounded together, and in this yard they're using all of the area was well put into use with the garden beds, raised garden beds. And here's a new permaculture beds that and the lovely stone path and steps. I thought it was just beautiful. But this is a brand new bed that we'll have the, I believe it was straw and different compostable materials underneath those beds for retaining the water. And there's some more of those new permaculture beds. And this right that day they had just started taking out the lawn. And this was just a few hours into starting this permaculture bed. And they again dug the trenches along the edge and raised it up in the center, and in the edge we'll have your wood chips or whatever to hold the water in there. And this was the beginnings of a very small permaculture bed, where he's got his fruit trees planted and some haskaps and strawberries and apples. And this was the plan for that garden. There's the front garden and the back one. And here's some more using this space by putting buckets on a fence post and growing in them. I thought that was quite unique. And your container growing. And if you look on the fence there, that wall, how they've used tin cans and little metal buckets for growing in. Some neat ideas. And here's another neat idea with old shoe bags that were used for growing in. And that's the end of part 1, and then we'll have part 2 in the next session.